Madam Secretary, you want to go ahead and call roll?
Sure. Good morning. Today is August 10th, 2023. This is the 714th Arizona Racing Commission regular meeting taking place via Google Meet, and I will do the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Present.
Vice Chair Olson,
Present.
Commissioner French Contreras,
I'm here.
Commissioner York.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is now 10:01 a.m. and the floor is yours.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll call to order the 714th Arizona Racing Commission meeting of Thursday, August 10th, 2023. Looks like we can jump right into the action items. And of course, my screen would move around. We'll go to B1, simulcast agreements pursuant to ARS 5-112U for Turf Paradise. Mr. Duncan, do you have any additions or changes to A1 through 12?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. No, I have no updates for those items.
Any questions or concerns from my commissioners here? It looks like everything's in order on our end.
Chair Coolidge, I have a quick question if you don't mind.
Ma'am?
Mr. Duncan, just a quick question for item B1A10. I think in our packet, and I might just be missing it, so feel free to direct me to the correct page, but it looks like we don't have the 2023 amendment. Can you provide some clarification on that?
Yes, Commissioner, let me find that one that you're talking about, and I'll take a look at it real quick.
Sure, and I think it's page, right around page 320, 326.
All right, let me take a look at it real quick.
Thank you, sir.
I apologize, Commissioner. I'm trying to find, look at all the addendums that are attached to it to make sure. Okay, Commissioner Olson.
Yes, sir.
If you go to, looks like page 224, number 16, terms of the agreement.
Let's see.
It would actually be page 12 of this agreement.
Just a moment. I'm scrolling there. That's at least in my packet. That's not for Kentucky Downs. Is that the same agreement or?
Yeah, hold on, let me look again here.
Go all the way to page 309.
Wider by the 50-cent pick three on the 50-cent pick folder. Be quick. All right, let's go. Right here, $50 pack.
Commissioner Olson, I know it's in here. I can't find it at the moment. As soon as I find it, I will send it to you guys. I do recommend approval of this, and I will send it to you as soon as I do get the agreement found.
Great. Thanks, Mr. Duncan. Yeah, I'd appreciate that because I think our packet just has the 2021 and then 2022 amendment, but it sounds like there's a 2023 amendment out there. We just don't have it. So appreciate your diligence on that.
Yep, thank you.
Vice Chair Olson, remind me what line item that was?
That is B1A10 for Kentucky Downs. So that's, I think, pages 309 and then 326 of our packet.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm just showing some notes. Okay, thanks for pointing that out. I had not seen that. Okay, any other questions or concerns from my commissioners?
Nope. Thank you, sir.
Otherwise, I will move that we conditionally approve the simulcast agreement pursuant to ARS 5-112U for Turf Paradise Kentucky Downs under the condition that we receive all the materials needed as noted a second ago. And leave it to the department to expedite that approval once they have all the paperwork in order.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by, Commissioner Chairman Coolidge and a second by Commissioner York. I will take the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 4 yeses, thank you. That motion passes with conditional approval.
I'll also make a motion to approve Turf Paradises 1 through 9, 11, and 12.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner York. I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 4 yeses, thank you. That motion passes.
We'll drop down to B2, simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to the IHA section 3004A3 for Turf Paradise. Mr. Duncan, any updates that we need to know about as far as 3 through 12?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, there are no updates.
Any questions or comments from my commissioners? Otherwise, I'll move that we approve the simulcast import racing signals pursuant to IHA section 3004A3 for Gulfstream Park and Remington Park.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner
Olson.
Olson. Vice Chair Olson, I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes.
I'll also make a motion that we conditionally approve Turf Paradises 3 through 12 under the condition that they submit all the prerequisite information and leave it to the department to expedite should and when they get the additional information.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Vice Chair Olson. I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes with conditional approval.
Thank you, ma'am. We're going to drop down to the information reports, the ADW's 3-year permit update. Mr. Duncan, can you provide that, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We just wanted to let everybody know that 30-day notice went out August 9th, announcing the 3-year permit renewals for Twin Spires, ExpressPet, and TVG, and it would be on the September 14th agenda. And that's all.
Appreciate that. Any questions for my commissioners?
Yes, Chair Coolidge. Mr. Duncan, a hearing notice went out yesterday. This is in my short tenure here. This is my first ADW permit update. So I would appreciate a little bit more background. Specifically, why is this a hearing, or is that just
It's just
terminology?
Yeah, it's just terminology. It's just for the commission that the permits will be in front of them. And I'll be sending the commission out early the contracts so that they can go over them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Author, I see your hand raised.
Yes, thanks, Chairman Cool. Just quick question. With our signal no longer being active, does that mean we cannot have ADW contracts? I'm not complaining. I'm just curious for information purposes.
I'd actually direct that question to the department.
Okay.
Director Casillas, do you have any feedback on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Technically, based on the circumstances that Arizona Downs is currently going through, they still have a permit, and they're going through the litigation procedures at this point. I know that they had agreements with OTBs and a limited event wagering and ADWs. However, based on the fact that they've terminated their operations with the OTBs, technically they should not be taking wagers on any of the simulcasting.
Understood. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions from my commissioners as far as the ADW 3-year permit update? Okay, we'll move down to the tracks. Thank you. We'll move down to the track safety report. Dr. Gale.
Thank you, Chair Coolidge, Commissioners. I have nothing new to report today. Are there any questions? I'd be happy to answer.
Appreciate it, ma'am. Does the department have any updates they'd like to share?
Not at this point, sir.
Okay, moving along, the budget report, please.
I'm here. So I'm
Ma'am,
going
the
to
floor is
just,
yours.
excuse me? Can you
I
hear
was
me?
saying the floor is yours. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you, sir. Here's a budget update as of 7/31 of 2023. We currently have a cash balance of $2.7 million. Thus far, we've spent $130,650 first cash. We have projected expenses through this FY year, through this year of $2 million. We also still have our Breeders' Award that is required by statute of $250,000. Our fiscal year-to-date revenue by type, I've separated it out here. The RWA, we have $62,346,000. Our license fees for boxing is, as of 7/31, was $855. For racing, it was $167. And then our expenses is our payroll, $107,000. We have contract workers, staff, and temporary work for $5,905. Our legal costs, so $16,000, almost approaching $17,000. So basically, our total encumbrance thus far is $130,650, and our appropriation remains the same at $2,326,600. That's my
Perfect. Thank
update. You're very
Thank
welcome.
you very much, ma'am. Any questions from our commissioners on any of that? Appreciate you having that all together.
No problem.
Okay, we'll move down to C4, the report on International Horse Racing Integrity Act. Mr. Guessman, do you have any updates there?
Not much update, Chairman. Leroy Guessman of the National HVPA. We still are waiting for the first week of October when our case will be heard. Both parties have filed their final arguments to the case. This week was the deadline, I believe. And so I guess those will be distributed to each party and they will have time to prepare. But the final date has not been set. We just know it's going to be the first week of October. but things are just with HISA is progressing as normal, if you can call it normal. That's all I have to report today. Any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
None here. Look forward to updates as you have them, and appreciate you keeping us aware of where you are in the process.
No problem.
Move down to permittee reports. American Greyhound Racing.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we have no update this month. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Arizona Downs.
Chairman Coolidge and Commissioners, it's Tom Author, Arizona Downs. I just would like to say, as the commission knows, we have applied for dates in November, December. We once Turf announced that they were not going to run the HBPA and Arizona Downs sat down and said, let's try to put together a meet. Now, there's by no means guaranteed, and we understand we'll be under real scrutiny financially. So at this point, we are trying to pull together financing, and our goal ultimately would be to come to the commission with our financial data and the other relative information that you'll require prior to the September 14th meeting, so that we could hopefully be approved at that point. Again, there's no guarantee to anybody on this. I want to make that perfectly clear, but we're going to give it a shot. And that way, if we can be approved September 14th, that should give us adequate time to start running in November. And I really want to commend Leroy Guessman, Lloyd Yother, and also Freddie Alvarez with the HBPA. They've been working very, very hard on this. We're hopeful we can pull it all together, but I just want to make sure that we understand that before we come before this body, we need to make sure we have certainly the financial backing, as well as all of our other I's dotted and T's crossed. So that's really the only announcement we have at this point.
Thank you, sir. I know that you've already identified that the financial side will be under review. I would make a strong suggestion to you to get those financials submitted as soon as possible. Those do take a review. There is manpower need behind them to do that formal review. So please make sure that is submitted as soon as possible, not, the day before our commission meeting and others. So please take that under advisement and act accordingly.
Understood. And we're racing against the clock, and we'll just do as best we can given the current circumstances. But I appreciate and hear what you're saying.
Understood. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing that documentation.
Mr. Chairman, may I be heard?
Yes, sir, Mr. Director. Go ahead.
My recommendation is to Arizona Downs with their submitted financial proposal before the September meeting. Also request that they submit a business plan to include the number of race days, number of races per day, daily purse amounts, all of their operating expenses, so that we can compare that to the total revenue that they are proposing to have available to be able to run a race meet. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
I think that's fair. Thank you, sir. We'll drop down to county fairs, please.
You skipped over Turf Paradise.
No, sir, I did not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, county fairs. I apologize. I see it there. Sorry.
Rito Park.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this is Mike Weiss. I'm just saying hello to everybody and saying that I want to add that we have added Terry McWilliams to our board. Terry is a retired racing official and worked in tote for a very long time. So we've already started to strategize some. Terry, myself, and Dan Fick had a Zoom yesterday, and we're discussing strategies for 2024 season. When it comes to dates, length of post times, the mix of breeds, just to make it a banner year. So we're getting to work early. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Look forward to having y'all race. Turf Paradise.
Yes, this is Jerry Sims. Pardon my eye, I looked down and I had seen Arizona County under not optional industry stakeholders. But I want to give you an update. Thank you, commissioners and chairman and department. I want to give you an update as to where we are. Back in July, I was working, I thought we'll run another meet. And frankly, we just couldn't make a deal. We worked at it, both sides, very hard, and we just couldn't get a deal. One of the items I just couldn't agree to is that the new buyer I would guarantee the new buyer will accept the deal, whatever I work out with the HVPI. I just can't guarantee that. I just can't do it. And another big sticking point was the 60-40, but we just couldn't get a deal together. And there are those that say, oh, gee, you have to run till April of 24 because your permit. But a requirement of the Interstate Horse Racing Act is that we have a contract, and a permit permits us to run, but doesn't require it. But let me tell you on a positive note where I think we are. As soon as the notice went out that we were not going to run in November, I got several very interested people that want to buy the track and run the meet and be in the racing business. One of the names got out, and so I can say the name. One of them is Kevin Preston, who owns Louisiana Downs and other casinos and so on. And but I can't deal with any of these people that have contacted me because under the contract that I have with the current buyer, Waddy, his name is Waddy Watson, I can't deal with anybody else. But I am very much assured that they want to run and buy the track and do it. And Waddy has expressed interest in doing it. What I would ask of the horsemen, and by the way, I've been there a long time. I've been there longer than anybody, 23 years that's ever run this thing. And frankly, I want to retire. I'm just tuckered out. But also, I invited during that process Lloyd Yother, the president of the Horsemen's Group, to come and look at our audited financial statements. So we showed him 5 years of statements. He could see that the track has been losing money steadily, and I've had to loan the track over $12 million over the last few years to keep it open. And I did that because I thought we were going to get machines. I was pretty much felt that we had a very, very good chance to get them from Doug Ducey, Governor Ducey, and that didn't happen. And so right now we have a deadline to close the OTBs, which we will do on the 30th of September. That means everything closes. When there's no revenue, that means all the people that run for Paradise have to go. There's just no revenue. And that means the 100 people that it takes to run the OTBs are gone. And and by the way, one of the reasons we lose so much money is we used to have 60 OTBs before COVID. And now we're down to, or just below that. And now we're at 37. And it takes the same infrastructure. If I have a mutual department, they can run 37 OTBs or they can run 60. And the same with auditors and all the other expenses that you have for 37 OTBs as you have for 60. What needs to happen to have time to do this is the current buyer, Waddy Watson, has to give me notice on September 15th if he's going ahead or not. And at that time, if he goes ahead, his money will become non-refundable. And I've seen people that had their money go non-refundable and still didn't close and lost their deposits. I'm sure some of you have seen that occur. But it's a pretty good indication if he goes ahead on September 15th and goes non-refundable that he's going to buy. Not a guarantee, but a good indication he's going to buy. So I have to also give 15 days notice to my OTB owners. So by definition, just doing the calendar, if on September 15th, I get notice, if Wadi's going ahead or not, the Horseman's Group is going to need time, as is the buyer, to work out a contract. And that goes for if it's Wadi or it's one of these other people that have come forward, who I would deal with very quickly, get a deal going, and they would work with the Horseman to work out a contract. And then what needs to happen is they have to get on the calendar for each city, Yuma, Mesa, Gilbert, Phoenix, Scottsdale, because those OTBs have been approved to be run by Turf Paradise, not the new owner. So they'll have to go into each city. Then they have to come to the commission because the commission approved those OTBs for Turf Paradise. They'll have to approve them for the new owner. All that is going to take time. And if the OTBs are closed, and then we have to close down everything, well, it's impossible. Then I can guarantee you no one's going to come in and buy the track and have no employees, start from scratch, and so on. So I think it's in everybody's best interest. I'm willing to help because I want to see horse racing continue in the state of Arizona. I do not want horse racing to end. And I am willing to do everything they ask me to, however long they need me to keep the business running, even though it's running at losses. And by the way, any of the commissioners that would like to come in, one or all, and see those statements, those 5 years of audited statements, and can see the losses and the current losses, even when you pull out attorney's fees, the losses, you're welcome to meet with my controller, Patty, and see if that offer's open-ended. So I'm willing to do the bridge work. By that, I mean, keep the business going so that the new owner has time where everything is continuous. OTB tellers have jobs. You know, if they go out and they get other jobs, there's no one, which is the first thing they'll do. They have to take care of their families. And my staff, somebody's got to, and then the bettors, you know, the bettors will go online. You'll lose your betting. The majority of your bettors that want to bet will go take up an account directly with TVG or some account wagering. And so I will do that and bridge that. But I need the HBPA to, if this is going to work with the new owner, arrive at a contract, come to me, say, Jerry, this owner, you know, Wadi is set to close escrow December 17th. So he would be at earliest a January run. One of these other people might close earlier, and they may come back to me and say, the HBPA, and say, Jerry, come December, we'll have everything done, and they can get to these cities, get those calendars and get the OTBs, or they may need me to stay on longer so that they can have that continuity. Also, it was brought up to me just this morning about the grass course, and I just want to comment on that. We turned off the watering of the grass course, and I double checked with John Hobbs this morning, and I invited Lloyd, the president of the HBPA, to get on the phone. My general manager will put him on the call with John Hobbs, and you'll learn exactly what John Hobbs told me this morning, that the grass course that we have, the reason we could run a full year on it last year, we ran the whole season. Normally, we have to get off the grass for, call it 2, 3, 4 weeks. We didn't have to get off of it at all because of the deep-rooted system that we put in. And that system, John, the term that John Hobbs, and by the way, John Hobbs is the preeminent person in the country on grass tracks. He puts them in all over the world, and he takes care of Santa Anita, all the big tracks. John Hobbs is or has been their consultant. And by coincidence, he lives 5 minutes from Turf Paradise. So he said to me this morning, he said, Jerry, I was at your track yesterday. And he said, your track would be fine. We have to plant ryegrass. And I said, he said, well, when would you want it to be open? And I said, well, if we started in January, he said, if you start watering in November, we're just fine. October, November, we're just fine. We're going to plant ryegrass, and but your
Mr. Sims.
deep-rooted system will be fine. I'm sorry, Chairman.
No problem. Out of respect for the issue, I wanted to give you more than the allocation of three minutes, but I think we're kind of getting off course here.
Well, that's fine. No,
Commissioner,
I'm done.
Commissioner, you had a
I'm done.
question.
I'm finished.
Mr.
Thank you for giving me the time.
Mr. Sims, thank you very much for outlining everything that's in front of us and I guess in front of Turf Paradise. But one thing I would like to understand is, I think one scenario that we haven't touched on is what happens if none of this comes to fruition? Do you,
Well, look,
what is the prospect of Turf running a meet starting in January?
okay. I will tell you, first, I can't speak for Wadi. There's two possibilities here. Either the current buyer on the September 15th says, I'm going ahead. And if he still wants to run a meet in January, then he has to make a contract with the Horsemen. The deal with the Horsemen that they've offered me, he's not going to want that deal. If the track needs 60-40 on the OTB system, we used to have that. The last 2 years, it's been at 50-50. We lose a ton of money. The new owner, Waddy Watson, or anybody else is not coming in there and going to put millions of dollars a year in it. And really, it shouldn't be a problem from the Horsemen because they were just granted $5 million for purses in the budget. So their purses should be strong. Turf didn't get any of that $5 million. We did get another $1 million for something else, but the $5 million that the governor allocated, they were good at it because they're lobbyists and they got 100% of it. So they're going to have plenty of purse money with that extra $5 million. They need to give a little. To answer your question, they need to give a little and give the 60-40. They've offered 55, and they need to get to 60 to pick up some of those expenses, because the way it is now, under 50-50, they get their 50% of the OTB revenue pure. 100% of the expenses, which is 100 tellers, because you got shifts 7 days a week and all the different shifts, and all the money from Roberts Communication to bring the signal to all these locations, all the expenses to operate them with the tote system, everything, in-house, mutual, everything. We pay 100% of it. You just can't do it. They get 50% pure. I don't want to repeat myself. They need to, at least at the 60-40 level, we get back about 20 or 25%. And we still don't get, an even split would be take off all the expenses and then we each get half. But the way it works now.
Mr. York, do you have any further questions for Mr. Sims?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to understand is, if we could wave a magic wand and all the problems are solved that have been outlined, is there a willingness and a commitment on the side of Turf Paradise to continue to run? Because I am feeling a little bit that maybe there isn't, and I just want clarification on that.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to run it. I couldn't work out a deal. I'm not.
But I'm saying if you do, I'm saying let's just assume all of these issues are solved. Is there still a willingness?
No, I have no. Right now, even if they were solved, this was 2 months ago. They gave me a letter saying this was their best and final offer. I cannot guarantee, Commissioner, that a new buyer is going to agree to this. I could only run, if you think about it, from November until Waddy would take over at the close of December 17th. I can't guarantee that he's going to accept this deal. I will tell you that you will have racing at Turf Paradise. In my strong feeling, if they work with Waddy, or if Waddy doesn't buy, Kevin Preston from Louisiana down, they're going to buy and run the track. You're going to have year-round, you're going to have continuous racing. So that is the best plan for Turf Paradise, is you will have it. If they work with the current buyer, Waddy, he wants to run starting in January. So if he closes his deal, if he doesn't close his deal, one of these other buyers is going to buy it and run the track.
Thank you, sir.
I hope that answers
Any other
it.
questions from my fellow commissioners?
Oh, sorry, one more.
Ma'am?
Chair Coolidge. Mr. Sims, in your opinion, are these other potential buyers, including Mr. Watson, willing to run a meet, assuming all contracts are agreed to, without the historical racing machines?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Watson could change his mind. I can't vouch for what his mind's going to do, but I've been told, he came to my house 3 weeks ago and told me that he thought his chances were only 50-50 of making his deal. I'm being totally transparent with you, in the hopes that this gives you more information. 50-50, but I am 100%. I don't know how you can be 100%, but I feel 100% one of these other people want to run this meet, and we'll buy it and run the meet. So I think you'll have racing. I think that will happen.
Thank you, Mr. Sims.
Very welcome.
Any other comments from my commissioners? Only comment I'm going to make is, Mr. Sims, this feels a little bit like Groundhog's Day with Arizona Downs. You saw what happened with their permit status not running a race due to acquisition and other items. So I would strongly suggest you try to make your way back to that negotiation table, even though now I'm hearing you have no interest in running anyways. So hope that there is an amicable resolution, but also have a feeling the department will be looking into next steps as far as not running races and having off-track betting locations.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I fully understand, but I think what you want to have is you want to have a continuous operation. And if you don't have a continuous operation, there couldn't possibly be any racing. And we don't have long to find out. I mean, we're in almost the middle of August, and we're talking about the middle of September, finding out from Waddy, and if not Waddy, one of the others. And I mean, I can't stress it enough to you that you need to have a continuous operation. If that closes down, you're done. Nobody's going to walk in and not have OTBs, not have staff. No one's going to buy it. Just a piece of land with a building on it.
Then
It's
I
the
would
operation.
strongly urge you to get back to the negotiation table, and I would strongly urge the horsemen to think about the big picture here and figure out if we can make this work.
Understood.
I totally agree with that.
Okay, we'll jump down to C6, the Optional Industry Stakeholder Association updates, Arizona Counties Racing Association. Arizona Quarter Horse Racing Association. Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders Association.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Sir, floor is yours.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Marvin Fleming. My family owns Fleming Thoroughbred Farm in Wilcox, Arizona, and we have been breeding in Arizona since 1947. I am also the current president of the Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders Association. Representing breeders, I will begin by saying that for every mare bred, it is 3 years at a minimum before a resulting foal is raised and able to step on a racetrack to run. During that 3-year period, Every single horse bred and raised supports the agricultural industry in Arizona through the purchase of hay, grain, supplies from feed stores, also supporting and using the services of veterinarians, farriers, just to name a few. I understand the landscape in Arizona is changing. More people are moving here. More high-tech industry is coming to Arizona. But outside of our two major cities, Arizona is still a farming and ranching state. Everything we do as breeders with every horse for 3 years supports agriculture in Arizona. The breeders in Arizona want their horses to race in Arizona. Breeders support and must have live racing and have the confidence that there will be a track or tracks to race at on an annual basis. It is very difficult to promote and encourage breeding in Arizona, not knowing from year to year if we will have a track to race at. Mr. Sims has let it be known that he is no longer going to run a race meet at Turf Paradise. We have the HBPA along with the Horsemen's Group that want to hold a race meet at Arizona Downs and would ask the commission to approve race dates for Arizona Downs. The Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders Association would offer our support through adding purse money and promoting Arizona bred stake races, and through adding purse money for Arizona breds that run in open races. Again, we must have live racing because we also pay breeders and owners awards to Arizona breds based on live racing. Also, a contribution is made through the ATBA Association to the Arizona Horse Rescue Fund, which is dispersed through the Department of Racing. That amount totals $25,000 annually to the Arizona Horse Rescue Fund. Live racing would allow the owners and trainers from Arizona, along with the horses bred in Arizona tracks, to race at. There are also many other owners and trainers from other states that annually come to Arizona to race and support the racing industry in Arizona. And that is kind of a short outline of what the breeding industry does for the Arizona agriculture industry and for the racing itself. We supply the horses that step on the track and put the show on. I would thank you, and I can be reached through the ATB office regarding any questions. Thank you again.
Any questions or comments from my commissioners? And thank you, sir, for that input. It's always nice to hear about the people impacted by some of the decisions that are made. Hope that we can come to a resolution for you. We'll go down to the HBPA.
Chairman Coolidge, Commissioners, Leroy Gussman with the HBPA. Man, I don't know where to begin. I will say, I don't want to get into this and that with Mr. Sims in the middle of a commission meeting, but I will say the HBPA worked very hard to put a deal together. And in the end, we were just told Jerry Sims is 7 years old. He's tired. He doesn't want to race meet anymore. And we have to wait till there's a new buyer. So the Arizona HBPA has been in discussions with several entities, national entities, local entities, about figuring out some way to help Arizona Downs run a meet. We are currently in negotiations with Arizona Downs on how we could structure a meet. We are in negotiations with financial people that could help finance a meet. And we are interested in a couple of, like I said, national racing companies that are interested in Arizona and interested in possibly buying Arizona Downs and resurrecting a meet. Nothing, a lot of hurdles, a lot of things, I think, as you've heard through the meeting today, have to happen in order for all this stuff to go in place. However, we are diligently working. Freddie Alvarez, Lloyd Yoder, myself are constant contact. Bob Budoff. I mean, there's a number of HBPA board members that are working with us. And we're doing what we can to try and resurrect horse racing. The other question, Mr. Sims mentioned there was $1 million allocated in the budget for horse racing. I just wondered if that was just for Mr. Sims at Turf Paradise or if that was to be split amongst all the tracks. That could help us put on a meetup at Arizona Downs if a portion was allocated to Arizona Downs. Anyway, we're working hard on it all, and I would be glad to answer any questions the commission may have.
Thank you, sir. We'll drop down to Jockeys Guild, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner York, did you have a hand raised there?
Yes, I'm sorry. I kept hitting the button and it was shutting off accidentally. So with regard to Mr. Guessman's question about the $1 million for horse racing and where did it go and could it be used for another track? Is that something the department could either answer now or get back to us on?
Commissioner York will get back to you on that particular question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jockeys Guild? Okay, we'll move down to the commission reports. Likely some additional matters to be placed on future agendas. We'll be working with the department there. Unless any of my commissioners have anything they would like to add.
No, thank you, Chairman.
Okay, we'll go to calls of the public. Miss Loretta, I see your hand raised, so I'll let you jump in first.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm sorry. I tried to jump in earlier. This is Loretta Brazier. I'm executive director of the Arizona Quarter Racing, and listening to Mr. Fleming give you the report and the economic impact that this industry has on our state. I just wanted to jump in and say that I appreciate him so much for bringing that to you guys' attention, because so much of this goes by the wayside. And we, the horsemen out here, the quarter horses especially, well, no, let me take that back. I don't mean especially, but we need a place to run. Most of our quarter horses that are bred here, they don't want to run anywhere else. They want to run right here. And I know this is like Groundhog Day and you guys keep hearing the same old thing from us, but just know that there's a silent majority out there that needs you, and that we need your input and we need your help to help us keep racing going in Arizona. If that doesn't work at Turf Paradise, I'll be very, very sorry to hear that. But there are other tracks that will step up, and Arizona Downs is a wonderful place to run. A lot cooler than Turf Paradise would be right now. So if we could get something going in November, December, the Quarter Horse Association is behind it 100%. And like Mr. Fleming said, we do have money that we can add to purses. I know that Lloyd is my president, and he is also the president of the HBPA. And I know he's in every one of the negotiations, and you guys are well aware that, or the horsemen are well aware of that. But I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention too. There is another entity out there. It's the Quarter Horses, and we support Arizona racing. And thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your input as well. Mr. Nolan, go ahead. Remember that we have a 3-minute cap on this.
Yes, thank you. I'll be brief. I try to bring things to your attention, time in and time out. And so I believe that I'll be brief because you either hear it or don't. First, I'd like to announce that there is a second part of the due diligence process in the rezoning of Turf Paradise tonight. There's a meeting scheduled, Deer Valley Village Planning Meeting, August 10th at 6 o'clock. Deer Valley Community Center, just on Walhalla 2001 West Walhalla Lane. It's a nice facility. all those lives and livelihoods that are being impacted by this potential rezoning, please make your voice known. It's important. Secondly, in the first letter received concerning this rezoning, as I live, well, I guess it's within 500 or 600 feet of the proposed rezoning, it states that the rezoning, which will become effective upon the ceasing of live horse racing operations and redevelopment of the property or portions thereof. It seems that they already have ceased live horse racing, so they're trying to get rezoning that will become effective immediately. And I think everybody's voice needs to be heard. The power of the people, they need to, the lives and livelihoods and $100 million economic industry, agricultural business, it needs to be said. Lastly, when we come to these processes of a commission meeting, I look at the open meeting laws, and if you look and Google it, you'll come up to Chapter 7 of the agency handbook, 7.5.2, and I'll read one statement. The public officials should refrain from any activities that may undermine public confidence in the public decision-making process established in the open meeting law, including actions that may appear to remove discussions and decisions from public view. I have tried to, I timely filed an appeal. It's been lingering for 2 years, no action, and it's a violation of this. To have actions to remove discussions and decisions from public view is a violation of the open meeting law. This continues month in, month out. I don't know who to go to. I bring it to your attention. Commissioners, this is a very difficult position you're put in to try to clean up the mess of the previous commissions. It's out of control. It's being hammered at in the state Supreme Court again, which I will say, please take notes that LC 2016-000505 is the case that's still lingering since 2016. And another case since 2010.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay,
I'm
thank you.
just trying to bring things to your attention. We need to move forward. This is an industry that you're empowered by the state and the people to do what's right in integrity and welfare of an industry. And I thank you for your time. Thank you.
Mr. Hutton, go ahead. Mr. Coolidge, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Chuck? Yes, sir, I can. Okay, thank you, Mr. Coolidge. Yeah, I'm blown away by all this stuff that's going on. I just want to remind everybody that in 1956, Walter Klur opened up the racetrack. It was then purchased by the Owens, then by Robert Walker, then by Mr. Hubbard, and then by Mr. Sims. And the other one that decided to cease racing was Mr. Sims. That thing has always been used as a racetrack, and the lives that it impacts, as far as the breeders, the jockeys, the trainers, the people that work at the bars, the OTB locations, is just enormous. And I think at this time with, I'm not here to badmouth anybody, but I think the prior director of gaming let a lot of unresolved issues and regulatory issues slide at Turf Paradise. And I think this is a good opportunity to reset and to, as some people say, take one step backwards to take 2 steps forward. And this state has so much to offer as far as racing is concerned. And I think it's a good opportunity. And I know some people are devastated by what's going on, but it is a good opportunity to bring somebody in that really embraces the industry and the as far as the atmosphere of racing and want to move it forward. And there are people out there, I've talked to some, I'm going to do everything personally I can to help the HPPA, as far as if I can help bring somebody in that they can talk to. I also think it's important to mention that the HPPA membership, if you're listening on the phone, that you support the HPPA. This is a thankless job, and they're busting their ass trying to go ahead and make everything possible happen for the membership.
And with that, Chuck, I'm done.
Thank you, sir. I have
Okay,
Michael
thank you.
Reynolds signed up as well. Mr. Reynolds, are you here? Sounds like he's not here. Okay, the next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. Thursday, September 14th at 100 North 15th Avenue, Suite 202, Phoenix, Arizona. Hopefully not on Google Meet, but we will see if the technology is up to date by then. Otherwise, I'll hear a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Thank you with the motion by Chairman Coolidge and a second by Commissioner Francois.
Hello, can you hear me? This is Michael Reynolds. Hello? Can you hear me?
Sir, go ahead. Sir, go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much. I'll only take a moment of your time. I spoke to about 30, 40 people concerning the Arizona Downs off-track betting, and I wrote a brief statement I'd like to read. Good morning, board members. My name is Michael Reynolds. I am a retired resident of Prescott, Arizona. I have been playing the horses for over 50 years now and enjoy it very much. In our beautiful town of Prescott, I have two choices where I can watch and bet on horses. They're better known as OTB or off-track betting. Both choices open their windows at 10:30 or 11 o'clock, which means we are out of any early pick 4 or pick 5 betting, along with any other gimmicks we like to play. Also, there is no audio provided to us from these out-of-town tracks, so we never get to hear from the experts who study the racing form days before the actual races and can give us insight as to who's hot and who's not. Very valuable information for handicappers. In fact, the only audio I hear is from rock bands or Van Halen at these two locations. I also need to mention the lighting at these places are substandard for trying to read a racing form, especially the small print the form has gone with. Both places get very crowded, and by the afternoon, when patrons mix gambling and alcohol together, you will hear a lot of cussing and swearing, which is totally unnecessary when you're playing the horses. Now, since the closure of Arizona Downs, we have lost such wonderful privileges as opening at 9 a.m. for early betting, audio provided to us upon request for early insight into upcoming races, perfect lighting, and plenty of seating for everyone to enjoy. I have discussed this with many other people and very disappointed. I have took a trip down to Turf Paradise and see that they are open for OTB, and we all know the status of that place. So please, can we have our nicely new remodeled track open for at least the OTB portion of racing? I don't know of anything about the politics of racetracks, but what I do know is we're losing out on one of the nicest OTB parlors that have been built in my 50-year history. Thank you.
Appreciate your insight, sir. Looks like we have some other hands that are raised. Miss Cynthia, I did not get a notice for you to speak. If you want to take a couple of minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And thank you, the commissioners, for allowing me this time to speak. Last meeting, Mr. Gessman let everybody know that they had formed somewhat of a rescue committee through the HBPA. I just wanted to give a little update on that. Our committee is moving forward to complete a 501c3 status. Last month, we did pull a horse from Stroud Kill Pen, and that is a real kill pen. These horses are in the slaughter pipeline. This horse was bred and raised by AAA, one of our big breeders in Arizona. The HPPA, they coordinated with us and helped us with funding to pay a bailout on a horse that was extremely underweight, had a head injury, and proved to be unsound. What made this certain situation so unfortunate is this horse was entered to run on July 5th, scratched during a pre-race examination, and landed on a kill pen lot within 8 days. Things like this are going to continue to happen with no racing in Arizona, the cost of expenses, which all horsemen understand that Turf Paradise and other racing facilities have a lot of expenses. Horsemen do too. Horsemen pay all their own bills. They pay all their own expenses. There's large barns, there's small barns, there's family barns that are very interactive in our community. These horses, when they don't have a place to go, sometimes wind up in bad situations. And to clarify, it is not always a trainer's fault. A lot of trainers and owners, they attempt to rehome these horses into proper places, and their second homes fail, and these horses are ending up on these slaughter lots. Our group has been committed to watching and scanning all these lots. And honestly, I mean, we can't keep up with the amount of horses that need to be pulled from these lots. We just can't. There's just not enough funding. We were fortunate enough to raise $1,975 through a GoFundMe account that horsemen generously contributed in this stressful time to help us pull this horse. And he's currently at Arapahoe Park, where he's undergoing rehab so he can go on to a second career. I hope that the commission understands that we do need regulation. We do need statutes to prevent direct transport to kill pens for these horses. We need penalties if trainers fail to do the right thing, as currently there's several options. This particular horse was also tried to be purchased by a similar organization. Mountain States Retired Racehorse Rehoming tried to purchase this particular horse at Denver, and the said trainer opted to send this horse straight to auction. So the good thing is that we have a lot of people fighting for our horses. We have a lot of people fighting for our horsemen. And currently our organization has foster homes available in 6 states. We have local people that have stepped to the plate and have offered quarantine barns and other services to help in rehoming. We do a lot of things that we don't publicly advertise. I guess that's all. I hope that everybody understands just how volatile this situation is and how many horses can be lost, and businesses and families. But I do want to thank all the horsemen that did step up with this particular effort. And I want to thank the HBPA because they certainly stepped right to the plate, and we organized bail, transport, medical care, all within 8 hours. Thank you for your time. And if I can answer any questions, I'd be happy to do so.
Thank you, ma'am. I thought I saw another hand raised with Mr. Lee. Otherwise, we have a motion on the floor. Madam Secretary, go ahead and process the motion.
Thank you. With the motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Montero, I will call roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Montero,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
Thank you. The time is 11:08 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. If you could please exit the meeting.